$40 a bag. That is what I paid 3 times last summer for the green promise printed on the front of it. Picture it, early June. The sun is warm on the back of my neck, coffee in hand, and I am standing on the edge of my lawn looking at brown patches I have been fighting since April. The sprinkler is ticking. The bag says feed and green in one application. And my grass looks worse than the strip of land the Amish family, 2 counties over, never touches with a single product. That was the moment. That was the corner of my own yard where the whole thing cracked open for me. Because here is what nobody in that garden aisle will ever tell you. The people selling you the fix need you to fail. Not on purpose in some cartoon way. But a lawn that thrives on its own does not sell bags. A lawn that stays sick, that browns out every July, that needs one more product, one more treatment, one more $40 promise, that is the customer they built the whole aisle around. And that customer is you, and it was me. So I got tired of it, tired of paying twice, tired of watching the same ground die in the same spots every single year while my neighbor bragged about his sprinkler timer. I went looking for why. Why do Amish lawns and old farm lawns and grass that gets 0 chemicals and 0 irrigation stay thick and green and deep, while golf courses burn through thousands of dollars in gallons to fake the same thing? Most people think the answer is water, so they water more. They think the answer is feed, so they dump more nitrogen. They think the answer is a special seed, so they buy the expensive box. And nothing changes. The patches come back every year. Let me be very clear about what I found. It is not a product. It is not a machine. It costs $0. And the reason you have never heard it stated plainly is that no one can put it in a bag and charge you for it. I am going to show you 2 things the aisle got backwards. How you water and how you feed. And then I am going to hand you the one preserved trick underneath both of them. The thing the Amish never stopped doing. The thing I now do every single week for free. But I am going to make you wait for it, because if I tell you now, you will not understand why it works. So let me ask you something first. You believe a green lawn needs to be watered often, right? Hold on to that belief. Because by the end of this, I think you are going to be a little angry at whoever taught it to you. Part 1 is the one that hurt me the most, the watering, because it is the most common failure, and the one the sprinkler industry profits from every dry week of the year. Here is the small question that started it. Why does my grass go brown in the exact same spots even when I water it more? More water, same death. That makes no sense until you look under the soil. What you instinctively do is this. It gets hot, the grass looks stressed, so you set the sprinkler to come on a little every day, 10 minutes here, 15 there, maybe every morning. It feels responsible. It feels like caring for something. And I did it for years thinking I was doing the right thing. But here is what is actually happening beneath your feet. When you water a little every day, the water only wets the top inch of soil. It never soaks deep. And grass roots are not stupid. They grow toward water. So when the water is always sitting in that top inch, the roots stay up there, shallow, crowded near the surface. You are training your grass to live in the top inch of dirt. Then, one hot afternoon, you skip a day, or the sun bakes that top inch dry by noon, and those shallow roots have nothing underneath them to reach for. No reserve, no depth, and the grass browns out in hours. You created a plant that cannot survive a single hot day without you standing there with a hose. That is the reframe. You are not watering your lawn, you are addicting it. The Amish lawn has no sprinkler timer. That grass survives August because its roots go down 6 inches, 8 inches, sometimes a foot, into cool, moist soil that the surface heat never touches. Deep roots are drought insurance. And you cannot buy them. You can only grow them by watering the opposite of the way the aisle taught you. So here is the correct way, simplest first. Water deep and rarely. Your lawn wants about 1 inch of water per week total, including rain, not a little every day. 1 good long soak, maybe 2, that pushes moisture down 6 inches into the ground. When the top inch dries out between waterings, the roots are forced to chase the moisture downward. You are training depth instead of dependence. How do you know when you have put down 1 inch? Here is the free trick inside the trick. Set an empty tuna can on the grass while the sprinkler runs. When the can has 1 inch of water in it, you are done. That is it. No gadget. A tuna can tells you what a smart controller pretends to calculate. And the timing matters more than anyone tells you. Water early. Between 4 and 9 in the morning, the grass blades dry as the sun comes up, the water soaks in before the heat can steal it to evaporation, and the roots drink before the day gets brutal. Water in the evening, and the blades stay wet all night, which invites fungus and rot. Water at noon and you lose a third of it straight to the air before it ever reaches a root. Now watch how the villain gets clearer. Who told you to water every day? The timer that came preset that way. The sprinkler system installer who benefits when your grass depends on his hardware. The controller with the daily schedule baked in. None of them profit from a lawn that only needs water once a week. A self-sufficient lawn is a lawn that stopped buying things, and that is the last thing anyone selling you irrigation wants. Here is what you stand to lose if you keep going the old way. A lawn watered shallow every day will never survive a real drought. The first time your town puts on a water restriction, and they will, that grass is dead in a week because it has no roots to fall back on. You will be standing there with a band hose watching brown spread while the untouched country lawn down the road stays green through the whole dry spell, but watering deep only solves half of it. Because you can water perfectly and still watch your lawn turn pale and thin, and that pulls us straight into the second lie, the one printed right on the front of that $40 bag. Part 2 is feeding. And this is where I got truly angry, because the feeding advice is not just wrong, it is designed to keep you coming back. The thesis is simple, and it will sound crazy at first. Most store fertilizer does not make your lawn healthy. It makes your lawn hungry. Here is what you instinctively do. The grass looks a little pale, a little slow, so you spread a bag of high nitrogen synthetic feed, and within about a week, it works. The lawn goes deep green and shoots up fast. You feel like a genius. I felt like a genius. So you do it again next month, because the label tells you to every 6 to 8 weeks all season. Now, here is what is actually happening in the soil, and this is the part they keep fuzzy. That synthetic nitrogen is a salt. It is water soluble, which means it hits fast and it leaves fast. The grass gets a massive sugar rush of nitrogen and pours all its energy into growing blades, fast top growth, that lush green you paid for. But that fast top growth comes at the expense of the roots. The plant stops investing downward because it is drowning in easy food up top. Now, before I hand you that free trick underneath everything, let me stop for a moment, because if you are done being sold the same bag every 6 weeks, there is a way to have all of this in one place. Everything I have been pulling apart piece by piece, the deep watering, the living soil, the free nitrogen, the author put into one collection, the complete Amish Yard Field Edition, and it lands in your email as a PDF the moment you get it. Inside, the Amish Lawn Guide walks you through why your lawn keeps failing and why it is not your fault, and lays out the natural framework that actually works on real yards, growing thick grass from bare ground. The Amish Soil Guide goes deeper, showing you how to know your soil before you waste a single seed, and a homemade fertilizer system built to feed the soil, not a bag. Here is something you can test tonight for free, no ordering anything. Take that empty tuna can I told you about, set it on the grass, run your sprinkler, and time how many minutes it takes to fill 1 inch. Then walk out with a screwdriver and push it into the wet soil. If it stops after 1 inch, you just prove to yourself tonight that the aisle has been training your roots shallow this whole time. The fastest way to get the books is to scan the QR code right there on your screen, or go to the link in the description or the pinned comment. And this is the season it matters, because the ground is warming or cooling toward the real seeding window right now, and every week you feed the aisle is a week your soil could have been healing instead. Now let me give you the thing I made you wait for. And there is worse. All that quick nitrogen pushes the grass to grow faster than it can build strong tissue, so it produces a layer of soft thatch, and it feeds the soil microbes in a boom and bust cycle that actually strips organic matter out of your ground over time. Studies from agricultural extension programs have measured it. Heavy synthetic feeding can burn through soil organic matter and leave the ground more dependent, not less. The salt can even pull moisture out of the roots if you put down too much, which is why over-fertilized lawns get those crispy burned stripes. So 2 weeks after the rush, the nitrogen has washed past the roots, down through the soil, much of it into the groundwater, and the grass crashes. Pale again, hungry again. And what does the label say to do? Apply again. You have not fed your lawn. You have put it on a drug it cannot quit, and you are the dealer paying retail for the privilege. That is the reframe. Synthetic fertilizer does not feed your grass. It feeds the aisle. A lawn that needs a bag every 6 weeks is a lawn that has stopped being able to feed itself, and a customer who has stopped being able to stop. The Amish lawn gets none of this. No synthetic nitrogen ever. And it is darker green in August than a fertilized suburban lawn because its nitrogen comes from a slow, living, self-renewing source that never crashes and never costs a dime. Hold that thought, because that is exactly where we are heading. But first, if you have been feeding your lawn and you want to fix the soil without a crash, here is how. Cheapest first. Method 1, the floor is compost. A thin layer, about a 1/4 inch of finished compost raked over your lawn in spring or fall, feeds the soil life instead of the plant directly. It releases nitrogen slowly, over months, at a rate the roots can actually use, and it rebuilds the organic matter, the synthetic salt stripped out. It will not burn, it cannot crash. A yard of compost costs a fraction of a season of bagged feed, and it works while you sleep. Method 2 is a legume in your lawn, and this is old knowledge that got branded as a weed on purpose. White clover. Before the 1950s, clover was in every premium grass seed mix sold in America. It was a feature. Clover pulls nitrogen straight out of the air and fixes it into the soil through its roots, feeding the grass around it for free, all season long. Then the chemical companies released the first broadleaf weed killers, and those killers murdered clover along with the dandelions. So the same companies rebranded clover as a weed, sold you the poison to kill it, and then sold you the nitrogen the clover used to give you for nothing. Read that twice. They took away your free fertilizer factory and sold it back to you in a bag. Method 3, the one a careful grower reaches for, is a slow-release organic feed, something like a meal-based fertilizer, alfalfa meal or feather meal, that soil microbes have to break down before the grass can use it. It cannot rush the plant. It cannot wash away in one rain. It feeds over 8 to 10 weeks and builds the soil biology at the same time. Costs a little more per bag, but you use it maybe twice a year instead of 6 times, so you spend less and the lawn gets stronger instead of more addicted. Now I want to stop for 1 second, because if this is already changing how you see that garden aisle, you are exactly the kind of person this channel is for. This is where I dig up the mechanism the industry keeps fuzzy and hand it to you plain, no bag, no upsell. If that is what you want more of, take 1 second and subscribe so the next investigation finds you. That is all I ask. Part 3, prevention. This is the one. This is the reason I made this whole video. The single free thing that sits underneath the deep water and the living soil and quietly does the work of both, and I promise you it is simpler than anything you have ever bought. You stop bagging your grass clippings and you mow high. That is it. That is the trick the Amish never stop doing and the industry can never sell you. Let me tell you why it works. Because the why is everything. When you cut your grass and haul the clippings away in bags, you are throwing away the single richest source of free nitrogen your lawn produces. Grass clippings are about 4% nitrogen by weight, plus phosphorus and potassium, the exact 3 things you have been paying $40 a bag for. Leave them where they fall and they break down in a week or 2, right back into the soil, feeding the roots. Extension research has measured this for decades. Clippings left on the lawn return roughly 25 to 30% of your lawn's entire yearly nitrogen need for free. Every time you mow, that is a full 1/4 of your fertilizer bill lying on the ground, and you have been paying someone to take it away. And here is the second half, the mowing high. Set your mower deck to 3.5, even 4 inches, and never cut more than 1/3 of the blade at a time. Tall grass shades the soil so the sun cannot bake it dry, so you need far less water, which solves part 1. Tall grass grows deeper roots to support those longer blades, which is your drought insurance. And tall grass shades out weed seeds so they never get the light they need to sprout, which means you stop needing the weed killer that was murdering your free clover anyway. Every single problem folds into this one free act. This is the whole reason golf courses cost a fortune and country lawns cost nothing. A golf green is mowed down to 1/8 of an inch and stripped of every clipping, so it has no roots, no shade, no self-feeding, and it survives only on constant water, constant chemicals, and a full-time crew. It is the most expensive way to grow grass ever invented. The Amish lawn is the opposite. Mowed high, clippings left, fed by its own growth, watered by deep roots and rain. One is a life support machine. The other just lives. The knowledge was never lost. It was buried. It could not be packaged. So it was pushed off the shelf and out of the ads and replaced with the bag. But the people who never depended on the store never stopped doing it, and now it is yours again. Go out this weekend, raise your mower deck, and never open another bag to catch the clippings. You will save the water, save the fertilizer, and save the roughly $100 to $200 a year you have been handing over for the privilege of throwing your own nitrogen in the trash. So which one is for you? If you have a small, tidy suburban lawn and you hate mess, start with mowing high and leaving clippings, and add a thin compost top dressing once in the fall. That alone will transform it. If you have a bigger property and you are tired of the whole feeding treadmill, seed white clover into the grass and let it fertilize the whole thing for free. And if your soil is truly beaten down from years of synthetic feed, do all three: compost in spring, clover through summer, clippings every week, and give it 2 seasons to come back to life. Now, here is the new problem you are about to hit, and I would rather you hear it from me. When you raise that mower and start leaving clippings on grass that is thin and beaten down, some of you are going to worry about thatch, that spongy brown layer, and whether leaving clippings makes it worse. It does not, but the reason why is its own whole story, and there is a right way and a wrong way to handle a lawn that already has a thatch problem before you start. If that is your lawn, if you press your fingers into the grass and feel a spongy mat underneath, leave me one comment with just the word thatch, and I will know to make that one next. Because you just took back something that was quietly stolen from you, the ability to grow a green lawn without paying a single company a single dollar to do it, and I am not going to leave you standing there with a new question and no answer. Subscribe so the thatch video finds you the day it goes up, and I will see you in the next one. I'm the one who found this, and here at the end I'll tell you where it goes. Inside the Amish garden circle, I take you into the deep root watering and feeding calendar, week by week. The part this video only opened. Ask me your own question, and a real person, me, answers you myself. You're not alone. Old ways gardeners like you are already inside. Just point your phone at the code. Cancel anytime with one click. Now that you know their secret, let me show you how to actually do it yourself. In the next video, I'll walk you through the simple Amish steps that give your lawn that perfect look. It's starting right here.